Sam Nover, Gene Washington, we're back in Cleveland. Halftime activities have been concluded. The Cincinnati Bengals and Cleveland Browns have returned to the football field, and those are the statistics of the first half. Anything jump out at you, Gene?
Well, the one thing that's a little surprising is that the Browns only have 32 yards rushing. The types of backs they have, you would expect more. But I guess maybe part of the reason could be to the fact that they've had to put the ball in the air a little bit more to overcome some tough situations. And this is where you want to go against Cincinnati. Is you want to throw the ball. They've got 2 rookies in that defensive backfield. They've done a pretty good job. This is what Cleveland wants to do. They want to get after him in the air.
We should also mention the fact that Mike Pruitt suffered a very mild ankle sprain near the end of the second quarter. We don't know whether or not he will be back for the rest of the day. But if the Browns all of a sudden become a one-dimensional football team and all they do is throw it, they may be in a little bit of trouble here in the second half. Wouldn't you think, Gene?
Well, I would think that they would want to try to hold on to the football, particularly in this third quarter. And as you mentioned, if they're putting the ball in the air more than they normally would, when you put it up, you can get that ball picked off. And that momentum, the score, and all that can change in a hurry. So I think that they will probably go to the ground a little more, try to eat up some time on that clock. And now that they have this lead, I think they want to try to wear down the Cincinnati ball club. And that's going to be their challenge. You know, not to get their daubers down, but to try to hang in there. Cincinnati traditionally, or at least this year, has not scored well in the third quarter. They've been terrible as far as scoring in the third quarter. But they're going to have to change that today if they want to get back in this ball game, or it could turn out to be a rout.
That is an excellent point. In third periods this year, the Cincinnati Bengals have been outscored 54-9. This has not been a big quarter for them, but they're going to have to do something today. This has been a great rivalry over the years. 20 times these two teams have met on the football field. They are dead even entering the action today. Each has won 10 times. I remember last year's game very vividly because I did it here in Cleveland, Gene, and it was a 28-27 game in which Cincinnati had the lead early on, led 20-7 at one point. But Brian Sipe put on another one of those amazing performances, threw 4 touchdown passes. Mike Pruitt ran for 135 yards. As you look at Brian Sipe warm up in the sidelines, and the Browns came back to win the game 28-27. Then later in the year, on the final Sunday of the NFL season, they went to Cincinnati and got knocked out of the playoffs by the Bengals, who beat them 16-12. So they've always played it tough.
Well, in a big rivalry like this, anything can happen. You know, I recall those days in San Francisco we played against L.A.
Oh, yes.
Anything can happen in a situation like this.
Okay, we're underway. Cockroft kicking it deep on the near side, bobbling the football. Jim Browner gets it back across the 20 and not any further. From the 22-yard line, Cincinnati will go to work with this offensive backfield. It'll be Ken Anderson, the quarterback. And the running backs will be Charles Alexander, number 40. And we believe Deacon Turner, number 22. The wide receivers, McAnally, 87. Isaac Curtis, 85. The tight end is Dan Ross, 89. And the offensive line has Blair Bush at center, 58. Bujnak and Montoya, the guards. Munoz, 78. Mike Wilson, 77 at the tackles. The pitch to Alexander for a couple. Reaching the 25-yard line, stopped there by Dick Ambrose. Gain of 3. Let's call it 2nd down and 7.
We talked about Munoz. He'd gone out in the first half. He'd come back in. He did a very good job that time on Lyle Alzado. You know, we talked about Alzado being an inspirational leader and this sort of thing, but this guy is very strong and an ideal guy to have in that 3-4 alignment because he can stand his ground. But Munoz is even bigger and I think a little stronger and did a super job that time on it.
That's an interesting battle we'll want to isolate on later on in this half. Munoz and Alzado, strength on strength. Alexander catches the ball just shy of the 30-yard line and then is pushed back by Ambrose. Let's see where they allow his forward progress. He needs to get to the 33-yard line for the first down. He did not do that, we know. He got very close to the 30. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 after a completed pass gains 4 yards. Here's an update. New England has scored on a pass interception. Rod Schote intercepts Burt Jones and returns it 42 yards. It is now New England 17-0 over Baltimore. 4 down linemen for the Browns on 3rd down and 3. Franks, Harris, Bradley, and Alzado. And they're coming on the blitz. Hall, and down he goes. He was untouched.
Anderson had no chance at all. Charlie Hall timed it perfectly. He got a running start. As soon as the ball was snapped, he was coming. He's right in there. Look at that. No chance at all. I figured that something was up because there was a little confusion in the Cleveland backfield. Those guys are back there talking to each other, saying, where do I go do this, that? And that's the result. They were wondering what to do on this blitzing situation.
Here's Matt McAnally punting for just the second time today, and Dino Hall is back in single safety. Good snap. Flag is down. McAnally high and very short. Very short kick and takes a Cleveland bounce and is killed by Cincinnati at the Bengal 47.
I think it's going to be motion against Cincinnati. They didn't allow their guy who was going to split out time to get out and get set, but I think they're going to refuse a penalty.
It is against Cincinnati, Gene. You've got excellent eyes. Referee is Chuck Heberling in your picture now, and you are right. The Browns would be foolish not to take the football at the Cincinnati 47-yard line. The punt traveled but 24 yards.
Illegal motion, number 21 offense, refused. First down.
So Gene, Washington has called it for you. The Cleveland Browns, with a 14-7 lead, have the ball in excellent field position at the Cincinnati 47 when we return. Back here in Cleveland, 14-7 Browns. It was raining when we joined you at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Gene. We talked about the disadvantage that would be to Cleveland's passing game, but it stopped shortly thereafter, and the Browns have had a dry afternoon in which to perform. Mike Pruitt is in the backfield, number 43. Rucker in motion. And Sipe on first down wants to throw it. And he airs it out for Greg Pruitt. It's caught out of bounds. Inside the 25.
Sipe makes it look easy, but I tell you, they have some beautiful pass patterns. Ricky Feacher clears it out on the right side. He takes everybody deep. Sipe gets his man out there. He's got Greg Pruitt out there in that in-between in the no man's land. He's in between the linebackers who are up short and the defensive backs who Feature taken out of there. And it looks easy, but that takes lots of work to get those situations developed.
25 yards on the completed pass. First down at the 22. Cincinnati leaps offside. But whether or not the man was drawn, we'll have to wait for Chuck Heberling's official call. Here's our referee, Mr. Heberling.
Encroachment, number 75 on defense.
Oh, nothing going right for Cincinnati. Absolutely nothing. Wilson Whitley, 75.
A little anxious playing that nose tackle position. Those guys like to be able to get a jump, and sometimes they'll get a little clue. You know, the center may move his hand slightly or may do something. That could have happened in that situation, which might have drawn him off, but the officials are not going to call that. They will only call if the quarterback moves his head too violently or something of that sort.
First down and 5. Our word is that Ozzie Newsome will not return today. A slightly sprained ankle. So McDonald Odin, 84, is a tight end. That takes away one of Brian Sipe's favorite targets. Here's the pitch to Greg Pruitt. 20. Shy of the 15 as he reaches the 16-yard line. Stopped there by Reggie Williams, 57, and Glenn Cameron, 50. There are a couple of people throwing the football, Gene, in behind the Cincinnati bench, and they've got their jackets on. One of them may very well be the throwing Samoan Jack Thompson.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I recognize that guy from any place. I saw him early in the season. He's got a good, strong arm. Now, something that Thompson does that hurts Cleveland is that he's a scrambler. And Cleveland does not like to see a scrambling quarterback.
On third down, or rather second down and 4, 3 wide receivers, Logan, Feacher, and Rucker. The throw out here, and it's caught by Logan. And Louis Breeden holding on for dear life. As Logan goes inside the 10 with it, it'll be first down and goal to go for the Cleveland Browns.
This little quick out pattern, if this ball is thrown on time, which Brian Sipe does here, it's virtually unstoppable. That defensive back cannot backpedal, stop, and get up there to knock that ball down. He just can't do it if it's thrown on time.
Louis Breeden now in his 3rd year out of North Carolina Central. Inside the 10-yard line, first down, goal to go. Cleo Miller, 30, and Mike Pruitt, 43, are the setbacks. Miller noted for his excellent blocking And the give to Mike Pruitt, and nothing doing there. Miller wasn't able to help him as he ran smack into Jim LeClaire.
Jim LeClaire right in the middle. He's a nemesis of a lot of running backs. You run in there and you see this big 55 staring you right in the face, and you say, where do you go? And there's no place to go. Very good job by Jim LeClaire. This guy, when you run the ball, he's a guy, he's kind of like Butkus. If you don't block this guy, you know you're not going to run it.
Well, you know, Cincinnati has been very opportunistic on defense this year, Gene. They've recovered 17 fumbles. They could use one now as Mike Pruitt splits with Greg Pruitt. They are the two running backs. Miller came out. Second down. Passing situation. Sipe complete at the 3-yard line. Reggie Rucker again. His 7th catch of the day as he had an afternoon.
Well, Reggie's a veteran receiver. He just runs a little 6-yard out pattern, and he's got these defensive backs for Cincinnati. They're afraid of these guys. You know, they don't want to get up and try to play these guys up tight because they know that these guys with those kinds of moves can shake them and get behind them.
They're really working on Louis Breeden, aren't they?
Well, I would do that too if you have a young guy who's playing out there, a rookie. He's the kind of guy, or a second-year man. These are the kinds of guys you want to go at.
Brian Sipe has called a timeout, and he is not happy about it. Now, Gene, what could go wrong in that huddle that would force Brian to take a timeout with 10 minutes left in the third quarter?
Well, I think the important thing is that it's third down, and he does not want to get in a situation where they have a bad play on third down and have to kick a field goal.
So it's 14-7. The Cleveland Browns trying to get more out of it. So Brian Sipe has met with the offensive brain trust of the Cleveland Browns, head coach Sam Rutigliano, and he has come back to the huddle, and let's see what they will do on third down and goal to go at the 2-yard line. Cleveland leading this football game 14-7. Any ideas, Gene?
Well, you know, I still like that rollout. I think that's one of the best plays in football if you have a mobile quarterback. You know, let's fake it into the line a little bit and roll out.
Play action, looking for Logan. No pressure. Now he throws it. Touchdown. Greg Pruitt all alone.
Well, the crowd tells a story.
A very important statistical catch for Greg Pruitt, as you see on your screen.
Well, I had half of it right. Play action. Whenever you give someone that much time to throw the ball with receivers as quick as the Cleveland receivers are, someone's going to come open. And that play action was the thing that did it.
Here's Cockroft's extra point attempt. It is up. And it is good. So Cockroft, after missing 1 extra point and 3 field goal attempts in Pittsburgh last Sunday, has missed a field goal attempt but has been perfect on the extra points. It's 21-7 the Brownies. We'll be right back. The scoring drive just under 3 minutes. 6 plays to travel 47 yards after the poor punt by McAnally. And Greg Pruitt catching the 2-yard pass from Brian Sipe, his 3rd touchdown pass of the day, 24th of the year, 101st of his career. And look at this, the Browns, the onside, nope, they just got everybody to the near side to flood that zone. Browner fumbles the ball again. Now he's trying to get outside, and he's pulled down way back at the 13-yard line. Willis Adams, number 80, the first man downfield. I thought for a moment they were going for the onside kick, but they just wanted to flood the near zone.
It's a very smart play. You know, you get all of your guys on one side, and you kick that ball into an area where one of the skill guys is not going to get his hands on it, or at least if he does, he's got to come up and try to get the handle. Someone is down, someone hurt for Cincinnati. That's the last thing they need at this point.
Might be number 55, Jim LeClaire, who has been the heart and soul of their defense, particularly today. No, it's Mellentry, 59. Andrew had some problems at the end of the first half. He was being helped off the field. We showed you a shot of that. That's what is left for both teams. The Bengals a 3-8 year, obviously being realistic about it. All they can be is a spoiler. But the Browns have Houston next Sunday, then the Jets, their last home game. Then they finish on the road at Minnesota and in Cincinnati. And the quarterback is still Ken Anderson from the 15-yard line. Alexander bullying his way to the 20, maybe the 21 for a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5. And the question is, when do you go to the throwing Samoan, or don't you at all? Down 21-7.
Let's take a look at Dick Ambrose here. Munoz is doing a very good job blocking. And I tell you, when Alexander runs that ball, he goes through there and no one touches him until he gets back into that Cleveland backfield. Give credit to that Cincinnati offensive line on the left side. They've done a pretty good job today.
Well, we talked about what a terrible quarter the third quarter has been for Cincinnati this year. Isaac Curtis in motion. They've scored only 9 points in this quarter. First down, Alexander breaks the run over the 25 to the 26-yard line.
But Sam, as you mentioned, when are they going to start putting the ball in the air? They need to make something happen. I don't think they can afford now to just say we're going to run the ball, keep it on the ground, because they also have the clock going against them. The way Cleveland's playing, that you know they're going to put some more points on the board. I think they need to get that momentum shifted. They need to put the ball up, make something happen, get some more inspiration going. They're not going to do it by keeping it on the ground.
Anderson has not taken many chances today. Isaac Curtis in motion. It has kind of been the history of the Cincinnati offense the last couple of years. Deacon Turner for a couple of yards, stopped by Marshall Harris, number 90. We'll try to get the passing statistics on Kenny Anderson for the day. I don't think he's put the ball up in double figures. Isaac Curtis caught 1 pass in the first series, Gene, as you remember, and hasn't caught one since, but he's being double teamed. What does it do to a receiver? How do you beat a double coverage?
Well, of course, that's the idea. That's why the opposition double covers you, and it's very tough. And they can do it in many different ways. They can play you inside, outside with 2 guys. They can bring 1 guy short and 1 guy long. We'll talk about it a little bit after this play.
Fine. 2nd down and 7. On the delay, Turner breaking a tackle, dancing back for the first down, breaks it to the 40. 45 midfield and a first down. Into Cleveland territory, finally stopped by Clarence Scott. But Deacon Turner having himself some kind of day. 24 yards on the carry, and he did it all after Archie Griffin went down in the first quarter. And I said this earlier, Gene, where's he been all year?
Maybe Cincinnati knows something that we don't know up here in the booth. We keep saying they should put the ball in the air. What do? They break off a running play that gets a tremendous gainer. Maybe they feel that this is the way to do it. We feel otherwise, but they're being successful up to this point.
Anderson, play action. Throws it downfield. He's got a man, Alexander, inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WKYC TV3, television home of the Browns.
Sam Nover, Gene Washington. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. That's our score. The Browns lead at 21-7. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the move. We talked about one of the better confrontations going on today, Lyle Alzado and the rookie Anthony Munoz. Let's watch it.
Munoz, even though he's a rookie, he doesn't play like a rookie. This guy has great size, and for his size, he has very good agility, too.
Here's a rollout. Anderson fakes the pass, gets the first down, and goes down at the 32. Charlie Hall had the coverage on him and made the stop, but Ken Anderson, just a naked rollout. He had the option to throw it or run with it. He elected to run for the first down. I asked about Anderson's passing stats a moment ago. There they are. He has only thrown the ball 11 times today with great accuracy, as he normally does, for 107 yards and the 1 interception.
Part of that, too, is that they're missing Don Bass. When you take a guy like Bass, who's a brilliant receiver, you take him out of your lineup, that has to affect your game plan.
You're absolutely right. There's Anderson throwing it a little bit more now. Stepping up in the pocket, 30, 25. Still on his feet and dives to the 15. Tremendous run by Ken Anderson when you consider the fact that he's playing with a knee brace and a bruised sternum, and he apparently hurt his left hand there. He is a battered and bruised quarterback.
Shows lots of agility and speed in this play. You know, he does it all on his own. He's coming back. He avoids a rush. He's going to run all the way now. He knows he's going to run the ball, but he doesn't do that hook slide that you see so many quarterbacks do. He's going for as much as he can, and I think he gets his hand caught underneath him as he falls down.
You said he ran with speed and agility. How about courage? Jack Thompson is in, and he gives to Alexander for about 4 or 5 yards. As Alexander the Great just bulls his way down to the 11 or 12-yard line. Give him a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down 6. The remarkable courage on the part of Ken Anderson, now in his 10th year out of Augustana. Every part of his body has got to be aching, or at least supported by some artificial means. And he's running with the football, and as you indicated, Gene, not hook sliding, but taking the tackler on. Some people may call it stupidity. I think it's courage.
You're absolutely right.
Jack Thompson is running the offense. Deacon Turner for about a yard, maybe 2. Stopped by Marshall Harris, number 90, and R.L. Jackson, 56.
I think Cincinnati's going to try to get Anderson back in the ball game, because to score now is vital. He's coming back on the field, and you need your veteran quarterback down in this situation. This is a good place to throw the ball, but you don't have time to think about things down here. It has to be instinct, and it has to happen right away.
Could it be that Cincinnati's in 2-down territory anyway, that they're not even thinking about a field goal if they miss it here?
I think you're right.
3rd down and 4. The Browns with 4 down linemen. Looking to blitz, no. The run by Alexander fumbles the ball, and Anderson got it back. Anderson got the ball back.
When Cincinnati needs it, they give it to their best back going up the middle as far as strength, but he's got no place to go. Who comes and makes the tackle but Lyle Alzado? The guy is all over the field. Comes over, not only makes the tackle, but forces a fumble.
Here's a 33-yard field goal attempt by Sandro Vitiello. He had one blocked in the 1st quarter. Steve Kreider will hold. There's the placement. The kick by Vitiello is no good. Well, you got to feel sorry for the young man. He looked like anything but a professional football kicker on both of his attempts today. We'll be back to Cleveland in just a moment. Well, if you're a Cincinnati fan, you know that the Bengals cut Chris Barr for Ian Sutter, then cut Ian Sutter for this young man. What is the problem there?
I'm not sure what the problem is, but this ball just barely clears a lineman, and they're in a down position. He is obviously not getting underneath the ball enough.
Here's Brian Sipe from his 20-yard line. He wants more. Airs it out for Greg Pruitt. 1st down.
Sam, have you seen this play before?
Last series, if memory serves me correctly, Gene.
And Greg Pruitt takes it in stride just like a wide receiver. You notice that Sipe looked to his right, and when he looks to his right, what he does is he holds those linebackers a little bit, because they've seen him dump the ball over there a little bit, and that gives Pruitt a chance to get by those guys and get down into that voided area.
25 yards on the pass from Sipe to Greg Pruitt. 3 wide receivers. Dave Logan, Ricky Feacher, and Reggie Rucker. Sipe wants to go the other way to Feacher, and he's got him. Touchdown, Cleveland. Well, this place has gone crazy. 80,000 are going nuts here in Cleveland.
I was a little surprised that Sipe threw this ball. Feacher did not have that defensive back Riley beat that much. The problem is young Brian Hicks, the rookie, was out of position. Don't want to take anything away from Feacher. He makes a great catch. He takes it in for a touchdown. But Brian Hicks out of position, and not only that, he knocks Riley off of the receiver.
Only the 7th catch of the year for Ricky Feacher, his 2nd touchdown reception. Cockroft's extra point is up, and that is good. So the Cleveland Browns have struck like lightning here in the 2nd half. Brian Sipe with 4 touchdown passes on the day, 25 on the year. He is now only 1 down to Dan Fouts. We'll be back. Cleveland, it's a 28-7 football game. Sam Nover and Gene Washington. Don't forget, coming up Thanksgiving Day, 3:30 Eastern Time, NFL 80 with Bryant Gumbel. A special look at the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and its exciting NFL action as the Cowboys battle the Seattle Seahawks all Thursday, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, or rather 3:30 Eastern Time, right here on NBC Sports. Gene, I don't want to pump any false life into this game, but I've seen enough Cincinnati-Cleveland games over the years to know that nobody should go away with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, even though the Browns lead it by 3 touchdowns. They got everybody to the near side this time, then kicked it across the field to the far side to Nathan Poole, and they say, I believe, he stepped out of bounds at the 20-yard line. They have really put a bit of confusion into Cincinnati's return team, haven't they?
I think what happened is that when he caught the ball, it was out of bounds. It's going to be a penalty against Cleveland. But you're right, they're pulling out all of the stops today.
They brought everybody near side and kicked it to the far side. Last time they brought everybody near side and they kicked it to the near side and tackled Browner at the 13-yard line. Buffalo has scored again. They now lead Pittsburgh 21-10. Third quarter there. So if the Steelers were to lose and the Browns win and the Oilers lose, they are losing to the Jets 21-0. Cleveland and Houston would share first place.
And the plot thickens.
And Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Houston meet next Sunday afternoon. Wouldn't that be something?
Great football.
And that is on NBC. Well, the Browns haven't needed to run the football. They've only got unofficially 33 yards rushing today. The Bengals, meanwhile, Gene, have rushed for 143 yards. That's the Houston score I talked about moments ago. So after the 5-yard walk-off, let's see what the Browns have up their sleeves this time. Just a conventional kickoff. Straight down the field. At the 12-yard line. Deacon Turner. Hit as he reaches the 25 and brought down. So the Browns now playing aroused football, not only offensively and defensively, but their special teams playing extremely well. And Cincinnati will go to work just shy of its 25-yard line. Bill Cowher is the man who made the stop.
Well, let's take a look at this Central Division. We see there Cleveland is 7-4, tied with Pittsburgh. And as you mentioned, if Pittsburgh goes down to defeat today, what a race this thing is going to turn out to be. It'll go down to the final quarter of the last game of the season, I think.
The rematch of these two teams could really spell it out, Gene, when they meet at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati.
And remember last year when Cincinnati knocked them out?
I do very well. Yes, sir, I do. So from the 25-yard line, the Bengals will try to get something started here. Most of the air has come out of their balloon. Ken Anderson is still in the quarterback. Throws it short. Deacon Turner trying to break a tackle and dragged out of bounds at the 31-yard line by the linebacker Clay Matthews. Gain of about 5 yards on the pass. It'll be second down and 5 now for Cincinnati, operating in its own territory.
Well, I certainly think that Cincinnati is going to put the ball in the air now. There's no doubt about it. The problem is they don't have Bass. He's out completely. Dan Ross is playing, but he's still playing injured. So they're hurting as far as their passing game goes, as far as their wide people and their tight end. It's going to make it a lot more difficult.
Isaac Curtis with double coverage comes out to the near side to pass down the middle, caught at the 50-yard line. An excellent catch by Kreider, maybe a better throw by Anderson, who threw it in the only place he could to complete it, and that was way down low. 19 yards, excuse me, Gene, on the completed pass.
Having been a receiver, when you come across in a zone and you're coming across between those linebackers, that's where you want that football to be thrown. You want it thrown low, so that when you go for the ball, you're the only guy that can get it. It's not likely to be tipped, not likely to be intercepted, and the other thing, you're not likely to get hit as hard.
That's what you're really concerned. Why don't you admit it? There's Anderson again over the middle to his tight end Ross. To the 40-yard line, spinning to the 38 and a first down. Ambrose is the man who threw him back. And so for the second time in this quarter, the Bengals are driving the football. But they came away empty-handed after running off more than 5.5 minutes of the clock in their first drive of this quarter, when Vitiello's field goal attempt was wide to the right.
Well, the things that they're getting on offense is that Cleveland is sitting back a little bit conservative, as they should. They have a big lead, and Cincinnati is taking advantage of the fact that Cleveland is giving them the shorter passes.
Isaac Curtis wide right, Steve Kreider to the left, and Curtis draws the double coverage again. Whistle before the play ever began. Charles Alexander was the ball carrier, but the play whistled down. And here's referee Chuck Heberling. We've had a number of officials.
With false start, left guard, offense, 5 yards.
That would be Glenn Bujnak. We've had a lot of stoppages for penalties. The Bengals probably up near 70 or 80 yards in total penalties in this football game today.
Now this is an interesting situation for the Cleveland defense. You know that they're likely to put the ball in the air. They have 15 yards to go. You have a big lead. Do you continue to play fairly conservative, or do you blitz? Do you change up and come with the blitz?
Well, we'll find out. Charlie Hall, the veteran linebacker for the Browns, has just gone to the dressing room. It's 1st and 15. Don Good replaces him. Alexander for very short yardage. Got back to the 42-yard line. Elvis Franks battered him to the ground. But it'll be 2nd down now for Cincinnati and about 14 yards to go for the 1st down.
Well, they did come with the blitz. Don Good came in, but as he was blitzing, he saw that Anderson wanted to dump the ball, and he tried to go up and tip it away. Just wasn't able to get up high enough, though, to knock it off.
They take out 3 linebackers. Good, Ambrose, and Jackson all come out of the lineup on 2nd down, and 5 defensive backs. Deacon Turner, the setback with Alexander over the middle. Caught there by McAnally at the 35-yard line. And he'll be about 6 yards shy of the 1st down. Stopped by Judson Flint, the nickel back in his 1st year out of Memphis State. We only have 14 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. The Bengals may not get another play off. Cincinnati trailing 28-7. Brian Sipe with 4 touchdown passes today. And we have seen the end of 3 quarters. So it's been all Cleveland thus far in the 2nd half after the Bengals played them very tough in the 1st half. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the score Cleveland 27, Cincinnati 7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local stations.
We got to look at the screen of Marty Schottenheimer. I'll get that name right. But Marty was at Detroit when I was there. Came over to Cleveland and has done an outstanding job with this defense. They have come a long way, and this guy is largely responsible for that.
It is 3rd down and 8 for Cincinnati as we begin the 4th quarter at the Cleveland 35-yard line. Faking the blitz, they just come with the 4 men. Over the middle, caught but shy of the 1st down by Kreider at the 29-yard line. Autry Beeman, the 6-year veteran out of East Texas State, picked up by the Browns from the Seattle Seahawks, is a man who made the stop. And I think, Gene, they're going to be a good 2 yards shy of the 1st down on 4th down. And I just am not a betting man, but I don't think we're going to see Vitiello. 28-7 ball game. The Bengals need touchdowns and not field goals. And Vitiello is 0 for 2 today and hasn't even come close in his 2 attempts, which have been relatively short. McAnally and Curtis come wide to the left. And Anderson has to call a timeout. Well, that's the mix-up that we've seen. It seems to me we see it more frequently every year, Gene. Is it that the offenses are more complex, or the defenses do more things that the quarterbacks aren't prepared for?
Well, I think it's a combination of those things. The defenses are certainly much more complex. These guys have all sorts of things they can do, but in this particular situation, I don't think that was it. You know, you get in this situation with 4, a yard and a half, or 2 to go, and everybody's discussing what should we do. And sometimes they're thinking more about what they should do than where they should line up. So it's probably a case of these guys not really being involved in it, and they lined up in the wrong side of the field. So instead of taking the penalty for too much time, Anderson wisely called timeout. Much better off being 4th and a yard and a half and 4th and 6.5.
That time of possession statistic is very revealing, because at halftime, the Browns had about a minute more than Cincinnati, and they have stretched it to 10 minutes more at the end of 3 quarters. So it's quite obvious that the Browns just thoroughly dominated the 3rd quarter. Cincinnati has been thoroughly dominated in 3rd quarter play all this year, and now having been outscored 14-0, Gene, they have been outscored in 3rd quarter play in 1980 68-9. They just don't come out of the dressing room in the 2nd half ready to play, do they?
Well, the scores certainly indicate they don't.
4th down, Cincinnati. 2 yards to go at the 29-yard line of Cleveland. Charlie Hall is back in the lineup. Anderson will throw for it over the middle, caught by Turner. 1st down as he broke a tackle and carried the ball to the 23-yard line. A wonderful effort by Deacon Turner. I am impressed with that young man who has had to sit on the sidelines the last couple of years for Cincinnati and watch other people do the job.
Well, I have to agree with you. This guy has turned in a super effort today. He goes up and makes a very good catch. Normally what happens in this situation, particularly with a running back, is that they'll go up and knock that ball up and it'll go up in the air and you get an interception. He goes up, comes down with it, gets the 1st down, keep this drive alive.
That's exactly right. At the 24-yard line of Cleveland, Cincinnati needing to score desperately on this drive. Anderson over the middle again. It's caught at the 12-yard line. Number 89, Dan Ross, the big tight end, simply refuses to go down. And what a courageous football player he is. Playing today with a lost tooth, a pulled hamstring in his right leg, and a knee injury on his left leg. You couldn't be any more physically decimated.
Unless you're the quarterback, Ken Anderson.
Yeah.
He throws it to him. He puts it right in the breadbasket. Hit right there. Good catch. They're keeping this drive alive. But the other thing, too, is that Cleveland is giving them shorter things and not giving them the big play.
13 yards on that play. Anderson again in the end zone. Oh, and off the hands of Ross and almost intercepted. A flag is down. Ron Bolton almost had the interception as it deflected off the hand of Ross. And had he caught it, it would have been interception number 4 for Ron Bolton, who is playing great football this year.
Let's take a look from ground level. There's a flag on the play.
Personal foul against the Cleveland Browns. Big break for Cincy, their first one today.
He's trying to get that ball to Ross, but the problem is, as a receiver, if you're playing with an injury, if you're playing with a hamstring or something like that, it really affects you when you have to try to lunge to make that extra effort. And he's in that situation, he just can't get there.
Unnecessary roughness, number 27 on the defense, half the distance, 1st down.
That's free safety Tom Darden, now in his 8th year out of Michigan. So it's 1st down and goal to go. Boy, if Cincinnati, you know, you say if, but if Cincinnati had gotten a touchdown that last drive when they got down here and now driving for another one, we could have ourselves a football game, Gene. Ball's on the 6-yard line, 1st down. And the give, nothing. Charles Alexander, there was nothing there. Ambrose, Robert L. Jackson, Clarence Scott all converged to make the tackle.
You mentioned Robert L. Jackson, the best hitter on this Cleveland defense. This guy is some kind of ball player. #1 draft choice in '72. Very strong guy. But the thing that I'm concerned about, Cincinnati gets down here the last time they were down in the other part of the field. They did the same thing. They tried to run the ball. Listen, these guys are tough in there. Little play action. Throw the ball. They need to get points and in a hurry.
Charles Alexander is the lone setback. There are 3 receivers for Ken Anderson. Looking in the end zone, looking, throws it, deflected, and out of the field of play. Well, there were a lot of bodies where Ken Anderson tried to force the football. He had receivers, but there were defensive men there also.
Sam, you had it just right when you said he forced the football. Dropping back, you don't have very much yardage down there to operate. So if you drop back pass, those linebackers can get back in there. You want to play action. You want to hold those guys up. But that drop back, you drop back there, you look back there, all you see are brown shirts.
Well, they've gone back to 2 setbacks, Gene. Deacon Turner and Charles Alexander on 3rd and goal. They got to get it here. Anderson looking. They got him back at the 9-yard line. Henry Bradley, number 91. Third sack of the day for the Cleveland Browns.
Calvin Hill described Henry Bradley as a time bomb that's just waiting to go off. He says the guy's very quiet, but he just explodes on you. Let's take a look. Bradley, number 91, he comes through with it when he needs it. He slips, falls, gets back up, then comes around and gets Anderson from the blind side.
4th down. They need the touchdown. Anderson looking. Now pressure, throws it in the end zone. It's intercepted. Nope. Darden had the best shot at it. It's incomplete. And And the Browns have held. And listen to the crowd. A standing ovation for the Browns. We'll be right back. Well, if it seems we left in cheers and returned to cheers, that's why. The Buffalo Bills have now gone on top of Pittsburgh 28-10. Joe Ferguson to Reuben Gant, a 2-yard touchdown pass. Prior to that, Curtis Brown had run 34 yards for a touchdown. And so Buffalo is about to knock Pittsburgh seemingly out of the race in the AFC Central Division at 7-5. Greg Pruitt gets nothing there. However, realistically speaking, if Cleveland wins today, they go to 8-4. They'll be a game up on Pittsburgh. Houston will also be 8-4 if they continue to lose as they are to the New York Jets. So Pittsburgh will be just a game behind. It'll still be a 3-team race right down to the end.
As we mentioned before, anything can happen on any Sunday or Saturday now. And I think that it won't be decided until that final week of the season. And to me, that's what makes it so exciting. Several years ago, the thing could be decided 4 or 5 weeks before the season ended. Now it goes right down to the wire. Everybody's capable of winning, and that's what makes football so exciting now.
2nd down and 9. We have 10 minutes and 40 seconds left in the 4th quarter. The Browns in command 28-7. Sipe throwing almost from his own end zone. And a good move by Pruitt, who stepped out of bounds at the 17-yard line. They say he stepped out at the 17. He'll be a couple of yards shy of the 1st down, but his ankle doesn't seem to be bothering him at all.
Sipe's dropping back to pass, knowing all along that he just wants to get this ball out here to Mike Pruitt in the flat. Pruitt has that great speed, and to go along with it, he has this tremendous strength. And if I were a halfback weighing only 190 pounds, I sure wouldn't want to tackle this guy. And there's a good example of why I wouldn't want to try to tackle him.
He's also their #1 receiver, too. He's just a great all-purpose offensive weapon. Calvin Hill 35 and Greg Pruitt 34, the running backs. On 3rd down and about 3 for the Browns to keep the ball. 28-7 Cleveland. Straight ahead. And the Bengals stacked that one up. Pruitt was a ball carrier, Greg that is, and he was stacked up by Mike Sinclair, 72, a former Cleveland Brown. So the Bengals will get the football back again. That has been the story most of the afternoon. They have had opportunities in excellent field position, but they have been so poorly inept at throwing the football down deep. And I think the story all through 1980 has been that they've moved the football relatively well between the 20s, Gene. They just can't get it into the end zone.
Well, that's been true, and that's a place where you feel like you have your best chance because you know the opposition basically is going to be in man-to-man coverage inside the 20-yard line.
Johnny Evans punting to Cleo for Montgomery. Good punt. Driving Montgomery back to the 38. Dancing around. Looking for the wall. It never formed. He's down at the 41. Willis Adams, number 80, made the tackle. 45 yards on the punt. A much better one for Johnny Evans. And only 3 on the return. Cincinnati goes on offense again. Down 3 touchdowns. Sam Nover, Gene Washington. We're back in Cleveland. 9:35 to play in the 4th quarter. Cincinnati has the ball, but they are down 3 touchdowns. And on your screen is Paul Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, who obviously can't feel very good about this, nor the past few seasons for that matter. Swing pass to Turner. 45. 1st down as he crosses midfield. The Bengals have been able to move the ball, as I've indicated, between the 20s. Oliver Davis made the stop. It'll be even easier for them now, wouldn't you think, Gene, as Cleveland falls back in a prevent and just lets them have everything out front.
You're exactly right, Sam. They're not going to give up a big play, but you get the ball to number 22, Deacon Turner, and this guy can turn a short gainer into a big play. So this can be an advantage for Cincinnati, but I would like to see them sometime or other try to get the ball downfield to Isaac Curtis.
Coming into the game today, Turner had only caught 8 passes. He had only run the ball 15 times. And intercepted by Matthews off the hands of Turner, then lateral to Oliver Davis. Looking for a block. 35, 30, still on his feet. 25, and run out of bounds inside the 10. 51 yards on the return after the interception by Clay Matthews. Then the lateral to Oliver Davis. Don Good gave him the big block, and Anthony Munoz knocked him out.
Just an absolute beautiful play on part of the defense. These guys are playing like real veterans. You know, Clay Matthews has a presence of mind when he intercepts that ball to say, look, let me try to get it to somebody who can run with it who's faster than I am. Oliver Davis gets the ball, cuts back across field, then he starts pointing out guys to be blocked. The blockers come up and form, gets it all the way down and practically gets in the end zone. Just a super play.
From the 6-yard line, the Browns have it first down and goal to go. They have blown this one wide open. The sweep. Breaking a tackle is Cleo Miller, and he's dropped back at the 8-yard line. He broke the first tackle, the initial contact. Ross Browner knocked him down back at the 8-yard line, so the Bengal defense hasn't given up, have they?
Well, Ross Browner certainly hasn't. He must have gotten awfully angry about that turn of events. He came across there like a locomotive and just shut everything down.
Well, they say that Miller got back to the line of scrimmage, so they spot the ball at the 6.5-yard line. It's second down and goal to go. Greg Pruitt, 34, in the backfield with Calvin Hill. If Sipe should throw a touchdown pass here, he could tie Dan Fouts for the lead in the AFC, but that was badly underthrown. Ken Riley had good coverage on Dave Logan.
Well, I think what happened is that Brian was trying to get the ball to Greg Pruitt, and I think it was an option situation. Sipe thought that Pruitt was going to break out to the flat, and had Pruitt gone to the flat, he would have had a touchdown, but Pruitt took it back into the middle.
Cincinnati making some wholesale defensive changes here on third down and goal. Gary Burley, number 67, is in the lineup. Third down from the I formation. Two tight ends, Curtis Weathers and McDonald Oden. Here's the reverse to Adams, and Browner grabbed him back at the 15. How's that for a defensive play by Ross Browner, the former Notre Dame All-American who won just about every lineman award you could win in college.
Let's take a look from ground level. This is a very good call, a reverse down here, and this play probably would have worked against every other defensive end in the league except a guy like Ross Browner.
Genie's probably got some friends and family in the crowd too, because Ross Browner played his high school ball at Warren Western Reserve High School just down the road here in Warren, Ohio, and he's given his friends and family a pretty good show today. Paul McDonald will hold for Cockroft. It'll be an attempt of 31 yards. Placement, the kick is up. Perfect. A 31-yard field goal by Don Cockroft, but hold everything right here. I think there's a flag down. No, I guess not. Yes, there is a flag down.
They're going to have the chance to run it in, I think. They might have another chance to go for, depending on what the call is, they may have a first down.
Oh, the Bengals are outraged. Number 47, Greg Bright, Louis Breeden are absolutely outraged at whatever this call is.
Number 34, refused.
It was running into the kicker against Louis Breeden, and the penalty has been refused apparently by Cleveland. They will take the 3 points, Gene.
Well, if they had accepted the penalty, they would not have gotten a first down. Oh, a bad snap from Center. That ball dribbled back there. They're fortunate that they were able to get this ball and get a kickoff. That's what happened last week. They had a bad snap.
So they take the 3 points that they put on the board. It is 31-7 Cleveland. That scoreboard tells it all, doesn't it? At Shea Stadium, Kenny Stabler has thrown a 6-yard touchdown pass to Mike Barber, and the Houston Oilers are on the board, but only 13 minutes remains in that game, and they're losing to the Jets 21-7. And the standings in the AFC Central Division, if everything holds, Houston and Cleveland will be in a virtual tie for first place with records of 8-4. Pittsburgh will be a game behind at 7-5. Because Houston is losing badly today, Pittsburgh is losing badly to Buffalo, Cleveland is winning big over Cincinnati. Browner, Montgomery, and Poole are in the deep receiving spots for Cincinnati with 7:03 to play in this game. 31-7. And a short kick. It's Montgomery at his 17. stumbles, crosses the 25, and then is driven back. Willis Adams, again, the first man downfield to make the stop, along with the linebacker, number 53, Bill Cowher.
Let's take a look at Ricky Feacher, the guy that came up with that big touchdown. He's a guy that could be a starting wide receiver on most ball clubs around, except for this Cleveland team. Look at him. He gets down there. He uses his agility. He says, wait a minute, guys. He says, I'm just a small guy. I don't want to hurt anybody. Just let me do my job. I never wanted to go out on those things. I only had to do that twice, and those in the Pro Bowl games.
Nathan Poole is in the backfield for Cincinnati with Deacon Turner. So they're giving Alexander the rest of the day off, I presume. Anderson over the middle, caught by Poole at the 32-yard line. And he loses the football. Cleveland has it. A flag is down. Oliver Davis again. And touchdown.
I think what's going to happen is that Clay Matthews came up with the ball again, but he lateraled it forward. He had a forward lateral. I think they're going to call it back.
It's Matthews to Oliver Davis. This has become a great offensive combination for the Cleveland Browns.
Illegal forward pass against the interceptors. It'll be their ball. 1st and 10.
Well, you can't blame him for trying, Chuck.
This combination has turned out to be like a fast break in a basketball game. It's a good catch here. But he's hit, and Matthews just takes the ball away. Just simply takes the ball away, and now he's looking for 21 again. There it is. Look at that. He's signaling touchdown before he even gets there.
Well, the winners have fun, and the losers say, shut up and snap the center.
Well, it's always been that way.
Yep. First down at the 35. They keep it on the ground this time. And a flag is down as Charles White carries for the first time today. The former Heisman Trophy winner from Southern California. And I believe we have a new quarterback, Paul McDonald, number 16, the rookie out of Southern Cal. And the initial indication is holding against the Cleveland Browns. So we've got the Southern Cal connection, Paul McDonald and Charles White. They exchanged the football a few times in their college career.
Much to my chagrin out there on the West Coast, having been at
Stanford, sure.
McDonald has a very good passing arm.
Number 63 offense. 1st down.
Cody Rison is the man who was caught holding the ball. So if this is indeed a day for Brian Sipe, it has been one whale of an afternoon. Unofficially, 27 out of 36 throwing the football, 310 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception by Glenn Cameron on a tipped football. Your normal Sunday afternoon for Brian Sipe.
Can't ask for any better than that.
2nd and 20 now for Cleveland. Miller took the handoff and went to the 37-yard line. The hole, I don't believe, was there originally, but he took the ball outside. And he picked up about 8 yards on the carry. It'll be 2nd down and 12 now for Cleveland, who are working on the clock. 6:18 to go. Matt Barr has kicked a 42-yard field goal with only 7.5 minutes to play. Why would they try a field goal down 18 points with 7.5 minutes to play in the game, Gene?
Well, they've come back before. You better to come away with some points than none at all,
I guess. 5:55 to go in this one. It's 31-7 Cleveland. Charles White bobbles the pitch back, picks it up at the far sideline, then steps out of bounds just before Reggie Williams hit him. And that's the kind of day it's been. Cincinnati puts the ball on the ground and Cleveland comes up with it. Cleveland puts the ball on the ground and Cleveland comes up with it.
You know, White, I guess he's looking for where he wants to go before he actually gets the control of the football. But these guys are at a little disadvantage now on offense. Paul McDonald and Charles White. Cincinnati knows that they're going to keep the ball on the ground. So they're going to be coming in looking for the run. So it gives these guys a little disadvantage. I'm sure that a guy like McDonald gets in there. He'd like to be able to put the ball in. But when you have a lead like this, it's not the kosher thing to do to try to put more points on the board.
Well said. Even with the use of the word kosher. Well said. From the 45-yard line. 3rd down. And this play is whistled down almost from its inception. Glenn Cameron dragged the ball carrier down, but as Gene has indicated, they are having all sorts of trouble
number 16.
Delay of game called against the Cleveland Browns, and with a new quarterback and a new set of running backs, these things are going to happen. And I'm sure the Browns aren't the least bit concerned, leading here 31-7 with 5:45 to play. Well, the first New England-Baltimore game, as I remember, was a crazy football game, and this one is also. It was 37-21. New England won the first time they met. They lead 33-21 with 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter of their second meeting. Here's a give on the sweep to Charles White, and he falls down. And now they'll bury him. Wilson Whitley got there. White having trouble just standing on his feet there.
But that's an understandable thing in this situation. When you come off the bench, you know, you've been sitting over there. He stumbles a little bit. Now this field is a little tough. They've got some sod down there. They've covered up the baseball area. But if you're a guy, you've been sitting on the bench all game, then you come into play, it just takes a while to get going and to get loose. And I'm sure no one is more upset about that than this guy. Here's a guy who's just a tremendous performer. And when he's given a chance, he's going to be a great performer here at Cleveland, too.
Cleotha Montgomery is awaiting the punt of Johnny Evans while we have a timeout. And let me again, Gene, thank this great crew in Cleveland. We always get tremendous support help. Our statistician, Don Drabus, and our spotters, Pete Halbin and John Betchkel, who just do a great job every time we come in here, and we appreciate your help, gentlemen. 21-7 late in that ball game. The Jets still lead Houston. And if that holds, you know what's going to happen, don't you? Cleveland's going to go into a first-place tie with the Houston Oilers. Pittsburgh will drop a game behind. And that's the games remaining for all three teams in their own division. Pittsburgh only has one game left against a division foe. That's Houston. But Cleveland, next Sunday afternoon, goes to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, for what will be the game of the year for these two football teams. You saw Lyle Alzado. I thought Munoz did a pretty good job on him today, didn't you? We didn't call his number much.
Well, that's right. But as I mentioned before, it's the duty of Lyle Alzado in that 3-4 to hold his ground, not so much to get sacks.
Montgomery lets it roll, and it's the way the day has gone. Cleveland gets the big bounce to the 10-yard line. So with 4 minutes and 38 seconds to play, Cincinnati trailing 31-7. We'll have the football back again. 48 yards on the punt and roll by Johnny Evans. At 4 o'clock Eastern Time, some of America's best gymnasts, including Tracy Talavera, Marcia Frederick, Julianne McNamara, compete in the U.S.-China gymnastics competition. Then some of our nation's strongest men gather for the U.S. Powerlifting Championships. Plus, it's a final round action in the Legends of Bowling, all next Saturday here on NBC Sports World. A new quarterback, Jack Thompson, from the 9-yard line. They give to Nathan Poole. He reaches the 15. Stopped there by Clay Matthews. A gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. And Nathan Poole has not exactly seen a great deal of action during the 1980 season, carrying for only the 6th time this year. He had 0 net yardage before that carry, Gene. 5 carries for no yards. So he has increased his average from 0 to 1 yard in 1 carry. This is a time to fatten up your batting average, I guess.
Well, here's a guy who'd like to fatten up his batting average. I think he'd like to maneuver out here so he can get a little room to throw the ball.
I think there's a guy who just would like to play more. He's such an enthusiastic performer. Thompson completes to Dan Ross across the 25 to the 28-yard line. Stopped by Bill Cowher, the first-year man out of North Carolina State. And I can't say enough about Dan Ross. I mentioned earlier the guy is playing with a bad right knee, a pulled hamstring in the left knee, lost a tooth in last Sunday's game. I mean, you talk about battered and bruised people. The game is out of reach, 31-7, and he is still on the football field.
And it's been a big surprise for the Cincinnati ball club. Let's take a look. He's limping off the field now. And as you said, this guy, it's just a wonder that he's been able to suit up, let alone play.
Jim Corbett, number 81, is a new tight end. First down for Thompson. Good protection. Fires it, caught in a crowd at the 37-yard line. And a very good catch by the tight end, I believe, Jimmy Corbett. In his 4th year out of the University of Pittsburgh, Corbett, in fact, was cut by Cincinnati. And then when M.L. Harris went down with an injury, they brought him back.
Thompson threads the needle. He gets the ball in there. Right between those two guys. But Cleveland's going to give them that. They're going to give them the short passes. They just don't want anything deep. The guy that I feel sorry for, because I've been in his shoes before, is Isaac Curtis. He's probably run 5 miles a day, all to no avail.
Double teamed all afternoon, caught a pass in the first Cincinnati series, and has not been heard from the rest of the day. On the run, Thompson brought down from behind at the 38-yard line. Pretty good pursuit there by 94 Elvis Franks, the rookie out of Morgan State, who showed some great speed, coming up from behind Thompson to bring him down.
Showed tremendous speed, and whenever you see a lineman that runs like that, you know that he's a young lineman. Because those guys, you know, they haven't been banged up yet. You can see those guys flying around the field. They look like wide receivers out there, 6'6", 260.
The old ones won't be chasing with only 2 minutes left in the game, will they, when the game is already out of wood, as they say in bowling? We have reached the 2-minute warning here in Cleveland, perhaps mercifully for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cleveland Browns 31, the Cincinnati Bengals 7. We'll return to Cleveland Stadium in a moment. Sam Nover and Gene Washington were back in Cleveland. The Cincinnati Bengals with only 2 minutes left of this particular defeat, which will be their 9th of the year. A team that at one point in the year, for a very short period of time, looked like it was coming out of its problems. Beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh 17-16. Then the next week blanked the Minnesota Vikings 14-0. We're going to isolate on Isaac Curtis for you and show you what he's had to contend with all day. Thompson has it knocked out of his arm as he tried to release the football. Great pressure from the Cleveland front four. John Mooring, a linebacker, coming on the blitz. But let's look at Isaac Curtis, and this is what he's had to battle all day.
As I mentioned before, Sam, I've been in this situation when John Brody retired and we had a change in personnel. He's got Bolden to the inside, playing a man-to-man, but he's got help behind him. So this, you know, you tend to get frustrated. You get very frustrated. You go throughout the ball game, and the thing that happens, though, whenever you relax, that's when they come to you. And that's the problem. You just can't ever relax. You just have to continue to try to fight through it. And you figure, well, sometime I'll finally get my day.
I thought you made an excellent point. Here's the blitz, an all-out blitz, and he beat it. But Corbett couldn't catch the football. Judson Flint had one-on-one coverage with the tight end. The point you made was that, you know, it looks like he's done nothing today, when in fact he's probably run 500,000 yards up and down the football field, you know, running his patterns to the best of his ability, somehow trying to shake the double coverage. But with Bass not there to be an alternate receiver for Anderson, the Bengals were almost doomed from the beginning.
But he does do something by running those patterns and taking two guys with him. He does tend to open it up for someone else, and that's the one thing that makes you feel like a receiver, like you're contributing.
What are you going to be doing Thanksgiving Day? I'm going to eat a quick turkey and sit down and watch NFL 80 with Brian Gumbel at 3:30, and then what should be a pretty good football game, the Dallas Cowboys and Seattle Seahawks. And I'll tell you why. You know who originally drafted Jim Zorn, don't you? Dallas Cowboys. He was the last cut of that football team when they acquired Preston Pearson from the Pittsburgh Steelers a few years ago. And wouldn't Zorn like to rub it in the face just a little bit of Gil Brandt and Tex Schramm and Tom Landry and the Cowboys? That'll be on NBC, coming your way starting 3:30 on Turkey Day, Thanksgiving.
Well, you're going to see two of the truly exciting offenses in the entire league in that ball game. They could score 100 points. You know, those two offenses, they could put points on the board.
What possibly could Jack Thompson and Forrest Gregg be saying to each other with 1:49 to play in the game?
Well, I played quarterback in college for a little while. Didn't play too well. But in this situation, the thing is, he's going to scramble around, try to get something done. But by the same token, they've been hurt enough. They've been beat up enough. He doesn't want to get in a situation where he can get this guy hurt or get some of the other players hurt. They're obviously not going to win the football game, but it would be nice to try to execute some things well, and hopefully that could carry over later on.
Well, more power to that gentleman, Sam Rutigliano, just a class guy who has provided great inspiration and leadership. He said this week that he was glad to see his team was down after its loss to Pittsburgh because he was down, and he thought it was an appropriate thing to do emotionally right after the game. But then you got to pick yourself up and come on back again, as Cincinnati gets the first down pass to Corbett up around midfield. And now the Bengals in the hurry-up offense as Matthews made the tackle. They move the first down marker, and the Bengals will go at him again. They'd like to get another score on the board. 31-7. Cleveland has won its 8th game of the year. And downfield, just off the fingertips of Steve Kreider, the intended receiver. And that'll stop the clock with 1:22 to go.
Well, Pat McInally was wide open. Cincinnati came back with the exact same play they had run before, but McInally curled into the middle and he was wide open, but Thompson didn't see him on that situation. I'm sure McInally will go back to that huddle and say, hey, Jack, let's come back with it again because I'm open in the middle.
So the clock stops. 2nd down and 10 now for the Cincinnati Bengals. They have the ball right on the 50-yard line. One setback behind a quarterback, Jack Thompson. And everybody out in the pattern. Looking downfield, throws it sidearm at the 38-yard line, and it's caught very nicely. Ron Bolton had the coverage, and we'll just have to wait to see who caught the pass. Pat McInally, 87. And he made a very good catch.
Seems as though McInally made a catch like this early in the game in the first half. He comes back. He does the same thing. Nice move. Comes back, reacts well. He seems to have a knack for being able to dive and catch that ball.
Oh, another deflected pass. The Browns have picked 2 of those off today. That one was off the tight end, Jim Corbett. And the Browns came up with the football and maybe tried to fool somebody as Bolton ran it down the field. 51 seconds to play. That deflected pass will kill you. What do you do about him, Gene? I mean, there's nothing you can do to guard against it. You're making every effort to catch the ball. If it goes off your fingertips, then there's no way you can guard against something like that.
There's absolutely nothing you can do about that ball once it gets up into the air, and then people have time to react. It's just like a tip ball, and then when you're in a zone situation, you're going to have people in the area all the time. If you're in man-to-man, it's likely just to be you and the defender. The ball tipped in the air in that situation, you can make sure he doesn't get it. But in a zone, there are other people around. You can't control all of it.
Thompson again on 2nd and 10. As a man, Corbett, it went right through his hands. You know, the tip football has become so prevalent the last few years that some teams even work on that drill during their practice sessions, Gene. For the defense, secondary, let them react to a tip football.
Well, Sam, it's not that some teams, every team works on that. And not only that, when a ball is tipped, they will have some sort of code word to let people know that, hey, the ball's in the air. In San Francisco, they used to say Oski. Whenever there's a tip ball, they'd say Oski, so people knew, you know, because sometimes the ball's tipped and you see guys looking around wondering where the ball is and it falls on their head.
Well, give me the significance of the word Oski. What does
I don't know where it came from, but it's unusual. It'll get your attention on it.
Next time we meet, I want to know the derivation of the word Oski, please. 3rd down and 10. 45 seconds to play. Thompson over the middle, man wide open. This time it's caught by McInally for the 1st down. At the 22-yard line, that's a Cincinnati 1st down. He was brought down by strong safety Clarence Scott. 17 yards on the completed pass. And the Bengals again in the hurry-up offense. Thompson having to wave the outside receiver up on the line of scrimmage. Throws this one over the middle. It's caught by Corbett. He goes down at the 15-yard line. Oh, and he is hurt.
He may be hurt. He ran directly into the linebacker. He may have hurt his knee some.
Judson Flint, the 5th defensive back, just hit him very low, and I think he may have a knee problem. 7 yards on the completed pass.
We may get a look at it here on the screen. As soon as he catches that ball and is about to run, he gets a shot. Ooh. That's usually when you get a knee, when you have that leg planted in the ground and you get hit on it. And there's only one thing that gives, and unfortunately, that's usually the knee.
So Jim Corbett being attended to on the football field, and it is just incredible what has happened to the Cincinnati Bengals injury-wise in 1980. Earlier today in the ball game during our broadcast, we showed you a graphic that took 2 pages or 2 screens to get through some of the crippling injuries this club has gone through.
Sam, I think I can explain why this injury occurred. Cincinnati has run the same play about 4 times in a row. They haven't gone to the same receiver each time. I mentioned before that McInally was going to come back and say, I'm open in the middle. They went to him, but they're running that same play. So that defense, they see the same play developing. So even though the guy catches the ball, now they get into position to make a good hit. And I think that's what happened in that last situation.
Don't forget again, Thanksgiving Day, as Corbett is being helped off the field. That is very unfortunate. 3:30, Bryant Gumbel, NFL 80, our pregame show, report on the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and other things, and then the game itself. The Dallas Cowboys and Seattle Seahawks from Texas Stadium should be a dandy. Cincinnati has run the football quite well today. Deacon Turner, 11 carries, 63 yards. Alexander, 12 carries, 54 yards. And statistically, Anderson did not have a bad day. 18 out of 25 for 188 yards, 2 interceptions. But their drives just stalled at the most inopportune times. And they just couldn't cash any of them, except for one. They led early 7-0. Thompson running for his life. Throws the football intended for Deacon Turner. And it stops the clock with 10 seconds to play.
You might say it was intended for Deacon Turner. I think it was just throwing it away. Unfortunately, he had somebody in the area where he could throw it away too. But it was obviously a situation where he was just trying to get the ball down, not get tackled back there for a loss.
So the Cincinnati Bengals will have time for one, perhaps two more plays in a 31-7 football game. The Cleveland Browns move on with this tremendous victory to their biggest game of the 1980 season. They will go to the Astrodome in Houston. Most of you will get a chance to see that next Sunday on NBC. Over the middle, Thompson, and it's caught down around the 4-yard line. Judson Flint with the coverage on McAnally, who's had a wonderful drive, and they stop the clock with 6 seconds to play to move the sticks. So the Bengals will have one shot at putting it in the end zone. That game is now final. Buffalo has defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-13. Wow, what a year this has been, Mr. Washington.
I've seen Buffalo play. I saw them early, and I tell you, they are a tremendous club. Their defense, they bend a little, but they don't break. And Ferguson has just been terrific in throwing that football, and they have great skilled people. Boy, they're going to be heard from down by the wire, and they may be the team that goes all the way this year.
You could be right. Here's Thompson in the end zone for Kreider, and he overthrew him out of bounds. And the clock stops with 2 seconds to go. So the Bengals trying like the Dickens to get something in the end zone, and understandably so, Gene. Here's a club that just hasn't been able to score. I pointed out earlier in our broadcast, it's a team that over the last 8 games has averaged only 8.5 points a game, and they haven't even reached their average today with 7.
The other thing that you pointed out, which is even more important, is that they move the ball from 20 to 20, and they get down and they can't get it over from there.
Despite all their frustrations, to talk to the Bengals, you would think that it has not been anything like their last 4 and 12 years. They respect Forrest Gregg. He's provided a great inspiration. Thompson, that'll do it. Clock is expired, and the Browns hold the Bengals out of the end zone on the last drive.
And they do it with a safety blitz.
So the final score, the Cleveland Browns 31, the Cincinnati Bengals 7.